Okay, he's very good, okay? He's American presidential candidate. He's against all the things that you said. All right. He's very good. He's American presidential candidate last year. He's against all the things, all these things that you're saying. He did a good video about the climate change scam, which is hurting all of us.
Organised protests.
Yes. He's a presidential candidate last year. He's against against the climate change scam, which is hurting all of us. Oh, okay, thank you.係啦，我哋今日就嚟到呢度維多利亞省農夫嘅抗議，亦都係今日第二次嚟到呢度農夫抗議，係自從2個月之前 ，OK, today we are coming to this farmer protest. So 2 months ago they come again, so to track this again, okay?
Private farmland is driving up mental health issues right across our Victorian
No farmers, no food 係事實嚟嘅。你以為中國人有個心態就係呢幾十年嘅心態就係覺得農夫係全部毛澤東嘅所謂，係毛澤東嗰啲人。但係喺西方，你啲農夫係自己個體戶，好多都係家庭嘅事業即係組成嘅。So所以嗰啲香港人或者中國人話西方覺得農夫係今次係抵死嘅話咧，嗰啲人盲毛嚟嘅。No farmers, no food。沒有農夫，哪有食物，哪有溫飽？哪有溫飽？係，睇下幾多啲農夫 tracker 幾多嚇？幾多嗰啲農嚇？係啊，我都唔想要，我就咁樣，明唔明啊
And by using this little book, we have worked through and found there's just one reason. Has it saved a life? Absolutely it has. I would encourage all of you, if you notice a family member, a friend or a neighbour struggling, be there to provide a safe space and to listen with empathy, but really listen. And don't be afraid to reach out for support to help them. I want you all just to take a moment, have a look around you, at the people beside you, perhaps your family, your friends, your neighbours, or perhaps it's a complete stranger standing beside you. To the urgent listener, large right here, bringing a lot of content. We're all here for the same cause. We are all here to stand shoulder to shoulder in strength and solidarity to support each other. And if we can be one thing, please be kind. And finally, this constant pressure and stress has also literally stripped a farmer and CFA volunteer.
嚇，澳洲示威係冇錯，係農夫示威，係澳洲嘅農夫係反對呢啲咁嘅佢哋加嗰啲 council rate 即係 council tax 狂加成50%。
I guess it's like the office filled with nothing that dictated who would win. Now, I don't know what they mean when it says, oh, Bowen was smoking, but they come so trapped, destroying the environment, ruining the regions, taking away people's hard-earned assets, all in the name of net zero. But the one thing these peanuts didn't consider is the biggest obstacle of all, and that's us. We are united, we are fired up, and we will continue to hold the line, stop this cult dead in its tracks. Their dirty games leading all sorts of devastation. These peanuts seem to have forgotten about the constitutional rights, or just the simple morals of humans. This crap of creating renewable energy zones across private property that are the perfect location for renewable infrastructure. What is that based on, Alistair Parker? Or drawing dogleg lines on maps that will be the future transmission lines, ensuring that they miss certain Labor-held electoral seats, like Bendigo East, Jacinta. They make their transmission lines longer, they make them more expensive, they make them more invasive.
工黨唔止工黨，自由黨都係㗎，自由黨國家黨係好多㗎。
They are inflicting on us humans. That's right, we're humans. Clearly they think their policies are above us country folk, thinking they can hoodwink us, throw a few cents towards us, and then we'll roll over and let you take our land. Well, you're wrong. We're in this together, and we recently celebrated the success of being united, with Transmission Company Victoria announcing a 2-year pushback on the VNI West project. Now, I hope you enjoyed that, Claire Cass, because I guarantee you that will not be the last extension that your dead duck requires before you cancel the project. And to those of you that are looking to host renewable infrastructure, I would look you dead in the eye and tell you that you too belong here in Spring Street with the Labor Communist Party, as you clearly don't know how to manage a business. You clearly don't belong in a rural area or a regional community. You've lost your morals. Like these peanuts calling the shots, it seems to you money is more important than anything else in life. Your actions are affecting entire communities, the mental health of its members, of those who stand among us, but also the future generations who want to live life to the full in the country. The naked farmer. The reason that eventuated, because I've already been there. I've already had the fight with my neighbours erecting wind towers. For me, it was 12 years ago. Wind towers were erected on the highest ridge in the district, 3 kilometres from my house and 280 metres from my boundary fence. Oh, and how they were going to be community-owned wind towers and going to be the best thing for the community. We're going to generate all these jobs, bring families to the area, be a tourist attraction, blah, blah, blah. What a load of shit. I fought back against it, but sadly very few had the courage to stand and speak out with me, and my concerns fell into arrogant, ignorant ears. I can see turbines from every point of my farm, and I can tell you that it really, really messes my head. I can't get them out of sight, I can't get them out of mind.
我點算？
So 2 years ago,
我被逼翻嚟香港咯，可能我會，但係香港起碼有氣槍俾你玩嘛，明唔明啊？War game 俾你玩嘛，香港。喺香港起碼你可以買支氣槍去玩 CQB， 你澳洲連呢啲都冇得買。
The difference is now, 12 years on, we have an army. Look at you all. Generational families,
呢度好多農夫。
community
同埋啲
members
嗰啲
who come together and we're
CFA
making
頭
a
先見到幾
stand.
架消防車嘅，
And
有
during
唔
the
少
past 2
啲
years,
義
the
消咧
friendships that
係
I've
農夫嚟
made,
嘅。
and no doubt you have all made as well. The people I've met during this battle for freedom, it has been an absolute pleasure. And when we all look back in time, one day think of the fight against net zero, we'll remember the amazing friendships that we've gained from it all. Slowly but surely, the media are also realising that no one deserves to have the renewable infrastructure burden on their life, their business, their farm, their family, their community, their homes. I had nothing to lose and everything to gain by raising awareness to this madness that was being enforced onto us, so the clothes came off.
Today,
I'll see what I can do. The truly sad part about net zero is, despite this project being concepts, the proposal of hosting turbines, mines, whatever it may be, is ripping generations, communities and friendships apart. Agricultural lands are producing food and fibre. Rural life, it's a tough gig. There's always something against us, whether it's Mother Nature, our proximity to services, cash flow issues of our business, or that generally our family and friends live a long way away, making local community-based social interactions essential to our quality of life. Now, I know my time on the farm with my wife and 3 kids, managing the business, it's hard. And I take my hat off to all of you who are doing it, have done it, and continue to do it, because it's bloody tough. Even before this renewable shit started, it was challenging to smile every day, challenging to look your wife in the eye and say, yeah, it will be okay. Mentally, it's absolutely draining. I feel like I play chess against Mother Nature every day on the land. I'm either reactive to her position or making an assumption based on her next move. Just when you think life's complicated enough, the net zero train hits your community. Now, these stories are from around the traps. True stories. It's affecting our kids, young kids. Arguments in the schoolyard when I was growing up was about what colour's your tractor. Now these kids are arguing about bloody wind turbines. Siblings who live side by side, farm side by side, 40, 50 years, are no longer talking, leaving those who now stand and fight against net zero, referring to their siblings as their ex-brother or ex-sister, as they succumb to the temptation for money and hosting renewables. It's affecting workplaces that have absolutely nothing to do with the physical infrastructure of renewables. Small groups of work colleagues or friends are no longer gathering and socialising on a Friday night or a special occasion like they once were before net zero entered their community. Young mothers who are stuck at home with their baby children all day while their husbands are off working, they're no longer getting out to attend the local playgroup. That one opportunity to get out of the house, socialise and break up the monotony of their day. It's all gone because of the tension and uneasy feelings that are present as a result of the selfish desire of hosting. There are kids that are not going to their 5 or 6-year-old mates' birthday parties because their parents have fallen out over the proposal of hosting. Childhood mates who have grown up on generational family farms through the fence from each other, almost like brothers without a genetic connection. Net zero's got between them. When are you guys to buy? Because the proposed wind towers being put in close proximity to neighbouring houses. Even the potential hosts must also be feeling the mental impact of their own actions. At a local CFA meeting this last week, the potential host sits along with the rest of his community talking about the mental impacts of these renewable project concepts are absolutely devastating for regional communities. The mental impacts are and will continue to be astronomical to the level we haven't seen yet. Rounds are tough, but that's nature, and it can't be controlled. Net zero affects the made, and that takes a different toll on mental health. This is bullying. It starts with the government, coming through to the host, accepting their proposals. These selfish, arrogant decisions are affecting people to the extent that they can see and hear the impacts of their own homes. They're meant to feel comfort and safety in their own home, not the impact of the world. If we can't feel safe in our own homes, then when can we? Transmission Company Victoria, our gates are locked. We have clear eyes and full hearts, and what your desktop review didn't show is that rural people are passionate. We have a lot of spirit and we'll fight. We'll fight until we win. So what we need all need. Jacinta, you and your Communist Party might be able to increase taxes and threaten us with fines if you try to stop people from entering privately owned property. Now you do realise that is effectively invasion, that you are trying to fine people for protecting their land. Australia as a country spends $33.8 billion US dollars equivalent annually from preventing invading and deterring. And you've answered to try and pass a law to make it legal. So just to let you think clear, you'll never take on our land. You'll never get consensual access. 6 generations, 4 brothers, 4 brothers, this land. And I'm sure it's something that the government will do. We have very good leaders. The starters, we have tests. And I'm sure you'll also need to us something which shows how that can stop it.
It's just phenomenal, as well as trying to do a day job as well. So please a shout out to Kate. Thanks, Kate. All right, our land is being torn up for this renewables agenda. It's being mined by this country just in the sake of net zero. We're going to hear now from a couple of speakers. I've got Craig Kennedy, he's a farmer, and you can see by all of the signs up here at the moment, Mine Free Mallee Farms. Craig, come up here, mate. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm alright.
Thanks, Ian.
I just here to do my live coverage on that. I just do my live coverage for that because I'm supporting you guys about this war.
You're a farmer?
No, I'm not. I'm still in the city, but I know I
You know
was.
what's going on?
Yeah, I know what's going on. So, unfortunately, this country has become like Thailand, which no, I'm not. I'm from Hong Kong, but I actually know about what happened in Thailand. This is replica of what happened in Thailand in 2006.
Yeah,
The rift between the countryside and the cities, which are full-blown hatred already. Which is why they elect Tassin from the country areas, which I've seen is similar situation.
They wiped out from Chiang Mai right to Burma.
Yeah.
They wiped out the whole forest. Absolutely killed all the animals, killed everything.
Yeah.
Cuts.
Yeah.
And so I went back and I said, it's empty like this. It's
Yeah.
amazing. I mean, it's probably grown back now. They killed top of Thailand. Now they're all Cambodia.
Yeah. Which is what replicating not only Australia but the entire West. The Thailand.
Yes.
Because they hate the farmers because they want to take out all the farmers.
They want the land, all the land for themselves.
Yeah.
The government, they want it corporate owned. And then they want us all in cities like the same in China. So we live in smart cities, we can't leave, we can't barter land, we can't barter anything because they're giving us nothing left to barter. The digital currency, that's it.
Yeah.
So, and you've got your phone and you're in a 15-minute city, you can't leave.
You'd be a miracle to even allowed to go twice a year to Japan or America
No,
for
you won't be
skiing.
allowed to, you won't be allowed to leave. You won't be allowed to leave. Melbourne's already 15 minutes in.
Yeah, I know.
They've already done it.
Yeah, I
You
know.
live in the city here, do you?
Yeah.
No,
So now we're still able to go skiing on holidays.
Oh, yeah, but not
on holidays.
for much longer. You
Yeah.
won't be flying, you won't be leaving Melbourne or Yarra or whatever the full electorates. You won't be leaving. And so they want all these people off the land, they want to move into the city.
Yeah.
So everyone's like a herd, like a sheep is stuck in the gates.
It's not a good outcome, I'm telling you right now.
It's not a good outcome. You can see, you know, if you go into a burning forum, you can see what's going on. They tell you.
Yeah. Scumbags.
World Health Organisation, well, we just signed up for that as well. You know what? Everyone hates Trump. Trump's even though he's crazy.
Yeah, but unfortunately, he's still high the Epstein list and the warp
Yeah, I
speed.
know, but forget that. That's just a distraction. Stay focused on politics, whatever.
Yeah, look, I used to support him too, but I can't.
I know, because he's crazy. But you know what? It's pulled out of the World Economic Forum, it's pulled out of the UN.
Yeah.
He's
All right.
after his people.
Yeah, wish you luck anyway.
Anyway, I'm not a Trump supporter.
Yeah, hope.
Although I follow Australia.
Look, my father and mother still support him. My aunt
do they?
My aunt in Vancouver still support her, support him. My aunt, unfortunately,
Brought up in Hong Kong.
yeah,
My best friend's from Hong Kong.
yeah, I know.
Showing this type of
Yeah.
poses a substantial and perceivable risk of irreversible contamination to drinking water, agricultural land, noise, nuisance and harm to human health. But we were ignored. We are told by the mining companies our farms lack agricultural value, and that if all agricultural production is lost, it's insignificant. Dismissing our concerns as secondary to their interests. Generational farming families are told they cannot live in their homes or work on their farms. We don't matter. Many of them are here today. We've got Gordon and Nola Bennett from the Mallee. Donna and Chris Johns from the Wimmera. They're just a few of the names and faces of generational family farms are being threatened and displaced by the mineral sands mining. Farms for Food is a great website if you want to educate yourself on the impacts of these. They've got great stories. I urge you to have a look. Victorian farmers help feed the country and the growing world population.
Yep.
Our produce is highly regarded and has a reputation for being clean and green. Victoria's grain and horticultural produce are consistently the leading exports for state revenue. The radioactive dust generated from mineral sands mining threatens both Australia's clean image and its economy. We cannot let this contamination threaten our farms and our people. Farmers carefully manage our soils, our most valuable asset. The government has approved mines in the Wimmera and Mallee farming districts without any demonstration or example of successful rehabilitation. Yet mining companies tell the government they will put our soils back better than before. In Victoria, there is no successful rehabilitation of a mine returned to the farmer. There are, however, examples of mines being left abandoned, some as radioactive wastelands. Agricultural land needs to be protected and preserved for generations to come. You cannot manufacture food producing land. Once it's gone for good. Victoria's ability to grow critical food, fibre and fodder for our country and the global population is under threat. Now this government want unrestricted access to our farms and farmers are under attack. If you own land in Victoria, you, your family and your business are vulnerable to government-sanctioned coercion, manipulation and displacement, all due to what might lie beneath your soil. We are calling for the Victorian Parliament to introduce legislation in line with other states to ensure farming families have the right to deny mining activities on their farms. We deserve strong property rights and the right to say no.
Thanks, Craig. Awesome job, mate. All right. Most people here may have seen the Minefields movie that was a documentary that was done on the Glenelladale community. Today, we've got a representative from the Glenelladale community here with us. Robin Grant, welcome to Melbourne.
I'd really like to thank everyone who's come here today to support community, and that's what regional Australia is all about. Our story began in 2002 when Rio Tinto came and did exploration in the area, drilling for minerals in the Fingerboards area at Glenelladale, 25 kilometres from Bensdale. Right. Awesome took over the lease for 12 months to continue a feasibility study and also mining exploration. Both of these companies walked away from this area. They did not want to mine there. It wasn't viable for that. In 2014,
following a devastating fire which burnt 6,000 hectares housing, stock and farm infrastructure, Kelbar, a mining company, came onto the farmers' land as they were coping with loss and coming to terms with their lives. Around the kitchen table, mine-free, Glenaladale was born. The community successfully fought this mining company for 8 years. Following an extensive EES process, the proposal was rejected by the former Planning Minister, Richard Wynne, and the Independent Advisory Committee. The risks were deemed too great to the horticulture and agricultural businesses, biodiversity, native vegetation, human health, the lakes and rivers, aquifers and cultural heritage. There wasn't much left in the community not to be a risk. The community came together, had a celebration and thought that was it. At the end of the stress, uncertainty and life could return to normal. But no. In 2024, Resources Victoria renewed 2 retention licences for the rebranded Kelbar, now known as Gippsland Critical Minerals. Glenaladale became part of the Victorian Government's roadmap, Critical Minerals Roadmap. This was done without any consultation with a community that has spoken loudly over 11 years, or 8 years at that stage. Gippsland Critical Minerals were given 12 months to rescope the failed Kelbar project to address the serious impacts, improve community consultation and gain support from First Nations people. The project area covers 1,676 vegetation clearance of any recent development in Victoria. It's all right, they have actually been the only party that has supported us in the past. There are critically endangered species and ecosystems and hundreds of ancient red gums which will be destroyed, as will the complex hydrology of the aquifers that sustain groundwater, dependent ecosystems and drought-proof farms in the area. They also recharge the rivers. Radioactive dust and contamination of water will compromise the economic base of East Gippsland, threatening many businesses. A consequence will be food security issues into the future. This area is a major food bowl in Victoria. It supplies local, interstate and export markets and is a major employer. Many ancillary industries in the area rely on this industry. Any contamination will affect other agricultural industries in the area: beef, sheep, wine, dairying and fodder production. The Lindenow Valley covers 6,070 hectares of highly productive land. Tourism is another important industry to the region, adding millions of dollars to the local economy and employing many. Any effect on the rivers and lakes from mine runoff will devastate the local tourism industry. All of these industries are sustainable and are there for the long term, whereas the government is prepared to gamble on a mining company that has never mined, has failed to get the community on board, and has a CEO who described the project as a gig. The few changes Gippsland Critical Minerals have made to the project do little to mitigate the 49 serious impacts of the proposed mine. More than halfway through this rescoping, there is no detail and no detailed mapping, only a lot of hype and spin. The CEO has actually a marketing background, so that explains it. Gippsland Critical Minerals have refused to hold a public meeting. They are scared of the community. Their drop-in sessions and webinars were poorly attended. The attendance figures were inflated by the mining company. And there has been little consultation with surrounding landholders outside the project area. These people will be affected. The community and First Nations people continue to strongly oppose the mine. 11 and a half years of fighting the mining company has taken a huge human toll on the community, with high stress levels, family breakups and 2 suicide attempts. Very serious indeed. We now have the possibility of being involved in another EES process and many years of uncertainty. Government regulations are failing to protect communities. The government has said critical minerals will deliver jobs and regional growth. But how many jobs and industries will the mining of critical minerals destroy? Farmers must unite to protect their communities. Mine-free Glenelladale will continue to fight right to the end, and we will win.
Thanks, Robin. Well taken. All right, we're going to change gears now a little bit. We have the emergency volunteers and services tax that the government wanted to put on us. We've had, as we did at the last rally, we said we'd stand shoulder to shoulder with the Shires. We've got a representative from a meeting we held here in Melbourne on Saturday in Jared Bingham. Jared's a councillor from the Mirabel Shire Council, and he will talk through where his council and where he sees the future of this going, particularly for the councils. Interesting, I've had some people come up to me, they heard me on the TV last night talking about it. People in Melbourne are just waking up. They're just opening those rate notices. They're just finding out what we're talking about. But it's great that those people who are here today that heard us on the TV last night and are listening in today on the live streams, all of the TVs, the monitors, everything that's going on, because this is your country, this is Victoria, and we have to stand up. Thanks, Jared.
G'day guys, as you've all heard, I'm a councillor in the Mirabel Shire Council, but I just want to give a quick shout out to my fellow councillors that are here in the crowd today. Mirabel Shire Council, every single councillor unanimously objected to this tax every step of the way, so thank you to my fellow councillors. I'm also a volunteer firefighter, but most people know me from my day job. I'm a snake catcher. So here I am on the steps of Parliament, because that building behind me is actually filled with snakes.
Yay!
Time and time again, this government has introduced new taxes. I think we're up to 60 something. 62 there we go. Time and time again, they've introduced new taxes to fund their hidden agenda, whilst everyday Australians struggle to afford a house, run a business, or even put food on their tables. The Great Australian Dream is not a box apartment crammed in next to a train station. Correct. It's a quarter-acre block, backyard for your kids, and freedom to enjoy life. But for many of you here today, that Great Australian Dream is to own a farm and work the land. This tax affects not just farmers, but every single community across Victoria. For months now, this tax has been met with fierce criticism, and rightly so. What they're introducing is not just unfair, it is unjust. Farmers are the backbone of our country, often working tirelessly against the odds to feed our nation, care for our land and support our local communities. Yet this government has decided to punish them with a new tax that threatens their very livelihood. It is a tax that shows a shocking lack of understanding and empathy, a government more focused on political gain than other people's lives. In the face of overwhelming backlash, this Labor government has admitted to their mistake and decided to postpone their tax. But let me be clear, this is not a victory, it's a temporary pause, a political calculation because they know they've awoken a sleeping giant. They are scared that the very people they were elected to represent will rise and hold them to account at the ballot box. Labor is still playing games, hoping to buy time, hoping that people will forget, hoping the farmers will forget. Well, I can tell you, we won't forget. The farmers won't forget, and neither will I. To add insult to injury, Treasurer Jacqueline Symes was recently caught out joking about these new taxes, asking the crowd, what's your favourite tax? Well, taxes are no joke to the hard-working men and women who have to pay them. The only thing funny here is the Treasurer thinking we're all laughing along with her. It is a sign of a government completely out of touch, a government that seems to think politics is a game to be played over people's lives. But make no mistakes, behind the jokes and the political spin are real people, real families and real communities struggling to survive. Farmers are organising protests, emergency services are standing united and communities are speaking out louder than they ever have before. They are sending a strong and very clear message to the government: scrap the tax. Exactly. I took that off you. The Labor government may have pressed pause for now, but they cannot press pause on the anger, the disappointment and the sense of betrayal felt by so many across Victoria. This is not just about a tax anymore. This is about respect. It's about fairness and it's about the type of leadership our community deserves. When election day comes, the voters will remember who stood with them and who stood against them. And I promise you this Labor government will be held to account for this unfair and reckless policy. Now, this may be called the Emergency Services and Volunteers Fund, but do not be fooled by its name. It's not reform, it's not fairer, and it's certainly not about supporting our emergency service volunteers. This is nothing more than a rebrand of a failed broken tax designed to cover up years of financial mismanagement and political spin. Let me be clear, this is not a volunteer fund. This is a state government cash grab hidden under a feel-good label. Maybe I said that already. All right. That's all right. I'll repeat that. They say it's about supporting our emergency services, but the numbers don't lie. In 2024-2025 alone, this tax has increased by over 31%. Since its inception, total revenue has soared by over 92%. Councils like Muriel Shire Council have been forced to charge its residents over $40 million and hand that money off to state government, no questions asked. So what does our local brigades get in return? A few $100s a year, if they're lucky. I understand the government pays for the fuel and the wear and tear and the upkeep of the vehicles and the equipment. Where's the other $30-odd million gone? Let that sink in. Volunteers who are sacrificing their time with their families to protect lives and to protect property are being told by this state government, sorry, there's no money for you. Meanwhile, that state government is sinking billions into rail tunnels and mega projects in Melbourne and then holding out their hand to our farmers, our families and our local communities to pay for the mess. I cannot in good conscience be an enabler for this government to rip money out of the hands of our local communities. It is wrong, it is immoral, and I will not be complicit. I know there are councils out there that are afraid to speak up, afraid of state government retaliation. They're worried about funding threats, political fallout and legal action. But I didn't come into public service to toe the line. And I certainly didn't sign up whilst this government kicks Victorians while we're down. I stand here for the people of Victoria, not for myself. If the government wants to punish me for standing up, if they want to remove me from council for showing political courage, then so be it. Let them, because I will not back down. I'll stand up for my community, even if it means putting my own job on the line, even if it means sacrificing my role, because at least then I'll be able to look in the mirror and say, I did the right thing. I stood with my community when it mattered. I didn't sell out, I didn't stay silent, and I didn't let fear win. So ask every other councillor. I ask every other council and community leader across this state, where do you stand? Because this isn't just about our emergency service volunteers anymore. This is about whether we allow ourselves to be used as tools in a political game that does not benefit us. This is about whether we believe that in local government's rights to represent its people, or we just accept that we're another arm of a city-centric bloated bureaucracy. This is about integrity. Let us not forget, multiple brigades across the state are now going offline, over 500 brigades, and that number continues to rise. Now, all whilst this is happening, this government is hiding in behind locked doors in this building like absolute cowards, standing there saying, trust us, it's fine. Well, it's not fine, it's an absolute disgrace. Our emergency services are being stripped of resources, our volunteers are being driven away, our communities are being left vulnerable, and all whilst this is happening, the government are saying, the government is lying to us all about it, hiding behind smoke, spin and PR. That is true. The people of Victoria will not be ignored, we will not be silenced, and we will not be used to bankroll a broken system we no longer believe in. Enough is enough, not in our name.
Thank you, Jared. Our next speaker is also a rural city councillor. He's probably been the face of the rural city councils right from the start. He comes from down Tattayune Way. Rob Armstrong, who could forget the story here on the steps of Parliament 6 weeks ago about his life journey around the volunteerism. Rob, you're a standout mate in your community, and I know you're going to follow on really well from Jared, who is also like you, like-minded, as a councillor, putting your job on the line. Please tell your story, Rob.
Thank you for those kind words. I didn't actually know I was speaking today, but I'm actually really glad I am, because I'm sick of getting out of bed, and I'm sick of fighting, and I'm sick of standing here, I'm sick of being in that building, and I'd like to know when it's going to stop. So I thought a good way to start this is a blue. The best way to beat a bully is to be a bully. So I'm going to give you a few facts about what they've done to us behind our backs and what they're not telling you on the news, on the radio, everywhere, especially about the emergency service fund, that it's going to emergency services. Well, it is. It is going to emergency services, but only to wages. And they've increased the wages bill by $151 million. But the real truth is, and this is regards to Peter Marshall, they took $114 million out of their budget. They've taken $41 million out of CFA. They've taken another $8 million out of Vic Services. They've taken $78 million out of 000. Now, Jacqueline Symes, before she was a treasurer, was the Minister for Emergency Services. Well, she took $26 million out of 000 the year she left that job. This is all in the red. All these things that's been put up, that where the money's going to, it's all in the red. Every fund is losing money and being reduced. But the only two funds that are going up are wages. And I'm sick of it. I'm sick to death of reading this stuff. I'm sick of the lies. We fight, and we fight. And unfortunately, we're just going to have to keep on fighting until everyone starts to listen and realises your money is not going where it's supposed to be going. Now, in regards to councils, this is really important. This is a fire levy. It is not a tax. If it was a tax, it would be under the State Revenue Office, and every individual person would be getting a bill for this figure under the State Revenue Office. You can't fight the State Revenue Office. No individual can fight the State Revenue Office. But there's a really good reason why it's a levy. And the reason it's a levy means it can be changed at the discretion of a treasurer, whichever way she likes, or where to spend that money however she likes. But the good thing about that is it can be changed. So whoever gets into power next can easily take the levy away. But if it got changed, and the councils are all speaking about it, we're not tax collectors. You've been a tax collector since 2006. It makes no difference to you as a council. All you do, instead of collecting 1 million, you collect 5 million and give it to the State Treasury Office. That is the only difference. It's a good thing. That way, all councils can stand up as one and be the bully back. So every council, all 79 of them, if they all just put their hand up, stood together as one and said, we will only collect 17 cents, the same as the residential rate across the board. That's it. What will happen is every rural council, every metropolitan council will be all bankrupt within 2 years. Well, I think that'd be fantastic. Because what will happen then is the Labor government has to fund any council that goes bankrupt. There's two sides to this, and this is being a lot bigger bully, but we all have to fight as one and do this with power and all stand up as 79 councils. Otherwise, if we lose this fight, we've lost the battle, and what is the next tax we can't afford and can't survive? Thank you.
Thanks, Rob. All right, look, we've been standing here for nearly an hour, a bit over an hour actually, and I reckon we need to give a warm welcome to the next speaker. But I reckon what we need to do is get a bit of a chant up. What do we want? Scrap the tax. When do we want it? What do we want? Scrap the tax. When do we want it? Beautiful. Good segue. Our next speaker, Peter Marshall. Peter's the National Secretary of the United Firefighters Union. We've come together, the people of Victoria, the volunteers of Victoria, and we're working side by side with groups like Peter's to actually get rid of this government, because that's what we're here for today. Send that message loud and clear. Let's get this government out.
All right, thanks very much for allowing me to speak at your rally. I'll move away from that so I don't end up getting feedback. First of all, congratulations for all those people who have come down early in the morning from far and wide in Victoria. It's an amazing effort to see people committed to a cause, a campaign, whereas they take the time to come to the city to actually protest where the decisions are made. So a big round of applause for you people who have come along today. I'm actually here to talk about not in our name. And what I'm talking about is the new volunteer and emergency service levy. Now that levy is a tax. It might be called a levy, but it's actually a tax. It's a tax for this reason. As you see, each and every one of you, whether you're at home, we're a business operator, we're a private producer, you pay a fire service levy. That fire service levy was brought out of the Royal Commission inquiry, whereas the recommendation 64 had a look at every bit of forensic evidence, all the submissions that were put in relation to what is the best way to fund the fire services being a CFR and the BNPB. The It wasn't done by way of policies and macroeconomics. It was done by extensive analysis of forensic evidence. And that particular levy was actually brought upon councils to collect. But the levy was for the purpose of ensuring that emergency services had the equipment to be able to protect life and property. They don't. As I speak, 42% of fire trucks and fire engines in Victoria should be off the road. On a daily basis, fire trucks are breaking down. On a daily basis, firefighters do not have the confidence that they're going to be able to get there in time to save life and property. Now, some may say it's a public rally, and here we go, making a speech again for a union official. I've been a firefighter since 1984, and what I hear from my members on a daily basis is that the reality of being able to get there in a timely manner is just not guaranteed. Not because they're not willing, not because they're not able, but because they have not got the equipment. And the equipment is simply as this. Over in Truganina, a call coming in the middle of the night for a house fire. That house fire had people involved. The worst thing for a firefighter to hear on the radio on dispatch to emergency call, whether it be volunteer or career firefighter, is that there is people reported trapped. Well, that particular fire, the truck arrived on scene. It was a truck that had a history of failing, and in fact, rather than fix the truck, they moved it from station to station so as that the problem would be covered up. When they got there, the premises was heavily involved, totally involved. Sadly, there was people who reported trapped, and they were trapped. The firefighters engaged in firefighting operations, that is, they did what they are trained to do. But what let them down? Not just once, but 12 times the pump failed to engage. In other words, they had no water supply. So what that meant for the firefighter, they had to make a decision. The officer had to make a decision. That is, does the firefighter enter that premise to save life and put their own life at risk because they had no protection, i.e. water supply. The reality is every firefighter will do exactly what happened that night. They entered that premises and they actually rescued that person. But it could have went horribly wrong. And why? Because they don't have the equipment. Now, I heard Rob talk about the increase in wages before. I can tell you right now, your firefighters, the career firefighters, have not had a pay increase for 4 or 5 years. It begs the question, who has had a pay increase then? It would not be the firefighters. On top of that, we're actually seeing survey tenders. I don't purport to represent volunteers. However, they do turn out hand in hand with career firefighters. Their tankers are well overdue to be replaced. The reliability of the fire fleet, whether it be CFA or FRV, is just not there. Now we see this new tax that's introduced. I won't call it a levy, it's a tax. And what we're seeing is a sleight of hand. The new agencies that have been covered by this so-called levy tax, they're already funded by consolidated revenue. And they say we need to do this because of climate change, increased number of fires. Well, let me tell you, the annual reports say there's been a reduction, not an increase. They might be protracted, but there's been less of. It's a sleight of hand. Now, what it means to each and every community member, that is, if you own a house now, you previously paid $191 in fire service levy money. You will now pay $249. If you're a business, and I understand some of the commercial activities over here, the operations may be listening to what we're saying. And there's a reason we're talking out loud. You will go from $800 to $1,400 with this new tax. And then there's the primary producers, $600 to over $1,200. Sure, there has been a 12-month moratorium. But what happens after the 12 months? The ability to pay, the pain, combined with the drought, and all the struggles that are going on in country Victoria just don't simply go away. So what are we asking for? That is that there's an extra $2.14 billion being reaped out of this new system. That money needs to go to equipment. The money needs to go where it's needed. and that is to give the tools to the firefighters to do the job, because they simply do not. Now, if you don't believe what I'm saying, have a look at the annual reports, go and talk to any firefighter, talk about the reliability of their equipment, and it's simply not there. So what does that mean? You pay money through a levy to have a service provided in the most critical time in your life. And that is that there's a difference between a quick response and no response, or a delayed response could mean the difference between life and death. Now that might sound a bit dramatic, but that's what we're talking about, not to mention property tax. If I talk about property damage, rather than tax. So we've seen an extra $2.14 billion. Over the next 3 years, there is $5 billion purported to go to emergency services, not to wage increases. I'll say it again. Firefighters have not had a pay increase for 4 or 5 years. Don't worry about that. It's not why I'm here today. It's a separate campaign. But what we are here today is to say, put the money where it's needed. And that is to make sure that the firefighters have the equipment to do the job. What we would really like, there's so much disharmony in our community at the moment. There's protest after protest. There's issue after issue. Surely it requires a round table for discussion or a parliamentary inquiry where we can try and work through this. It is not conductive to having protest after protest, people coming out. You're not here because you're actually here for no reason. You have something to talk to the government about, but it's not being listened. On this note, campaigning is like this. It's tiresome. Some days you feel like you made progress. Other days you think, why am I here? And other days you just simply want to give up. I'm not trying to politicise this, but what I'm saying very clearly, the government of the day needs to listen to the people who are hurting. The government of the day, irrespective of political party, need to make sure that emergency service workers have the equipment to save life and property. And they simply don't. So in relation to your campaign that I'm speaking on the back of, what I'm saying is the reason we established, not in our name, it's a landing page, because if you want to raise a tax, say I want to raise a tax. Do not purport to do it under the goodwill and the community goodwill towards an emergency service workers, hoping there won't be a backlash. Because we're calling you out. The money is not going to where it's needed. Now what we're asking from the Premier, we're not here, I'm not here to criticise the Premier or the government. We're asking to actually take a breath, put it on hold. What we would like is a parliamentary inquiry where there can be a proper investigation as to what is needed to fund emergency services and how that impacts on the community. I'll finish on this note. Last Saturday, we were at a forum where there was 25 to 30 councillors. And we weren't talking about political overthrowing of governments. We're talking about how do you actually deal with the damage, the unintended consequences of people not being able to pay the rates because of this increased money. How do you deal with the social disconnect, the challenges in society, the people who are actually going to struggle, the suicides? How are you going to deal with the businesses that are going to go broke? The councils are going to have to deal with that. There needs to be a coordinated plan. What is it is a clear disconnect about what is being legislated as opposed to what is happening. So we're actually asking for this. That is, we want a moratorium on this tax. We want a parliamentary inquiry. We want to have a look at whether the emergency services are funded the way they should be. We want to make sure that country people are not put under ever-increasing pressure the way they are doing. Hasn't hit metropolitan area at the moment, but as I speak in the mail, they're about to get a message. The message from the council is that we're going to go from $191 up to $248, I think it is. For commercial, you're going from $800 to $1,400, and then the pressure goes on. Now, I've spoken a lot today, probably more than what I should do. But what the very thing that government should do is make sure emergency service workers have the ability to protect life and property, and they simply do not. The 42% of trucks in FRV that should be off the road, you are playing Russian roulette. It nearly happened at Truganina. We've had it at very large chemical fires where their actual equipment's failed. So what am I saying very clearly? Thank you for coming along today. But as I talked about campaigns, and I've been involved in a lot of them, they actually wear you down. But at the end of the day, what should keep you going is what is the objective. You haven't manufactured this, you have a legitimate concern, and you want that concern to not only be heard, but rectified. Thank you for listening. Stay strong and continue the campaign. Thank you.
Thanks, Peter. That's the end of the speakers today. First of all, before we finish up though, I think we do need to start a new chant, and the chant should go a bit like this. Scrap the government. When we want to do it? Let's scrap the government. When we want to do it? Exactly, so that's going to be the catch cry from here on. So, retiring debt, as Peter's talking about, under our good name, the Not in Our Name campaign will run right through to the next election as long as we've all got breath in our bodies. We have to make a change, we have to make a difference. This mob of clowns behind us, we've got to get rid of them. I want to say again, thank you to everyone for coming. Also, follow our Facebook page, the Across Victoria page. There's been a few additions to that while we've been here on the page. And a big shout out to the music that we heard when we were turning up this morning from Hooter, Johnny Houston. He's putting together a pretty good album, I reckon. And we're going to play it again as we finish up here today, as people leave. The tones from Hooter. Hooter, by the way, he actually had a heart condition not long ago, and we thought he was set to put a rally. And the guy from his bed is 4 hours in, he's had a stent put in, and he's still helping out, trying to keep this campaign going. That shows the spirit of Victoria. And to everybody else that's come today, you've got friends here in Melbourne. Some of them I've seen walking and waving by that we know from Melbourne. Please go home, open that bloody rate notice and have a look and just see what this government is doing to you here in Victoria. Thanks everyone again for turning out.
I've seen the tractors and the... Sorry, I was 15 minutes. I met one of the girls when you talk, she's
Out on the farms where our crops won't grow, we stand in lines where the livestock go. Turbines spinning, mining drills, taking our land without our will. No regard for the common
Wow, man. OK， 我而家離開呢度先，我睇下覺得嗰啲卡嗰啲 tractor 去咗邊度 ？OK，I'm gonna have a look at leaving here. I'm gonna have a look at tractor when the tractors are gone. OK，I'm gonna have a look at when the tractors gone. OK。 OK， 既然揾唔到嗰批 tracker 嘅話，就算數啦。OK，if you can't find the trackers, then that's okay. I'll end the live here, alright? Please like and subscribe my channel. 所有即係睇中意今日睇到 live 嘅人，唔該請你 subscribe 同埋 like 個 channel， 多謝。OK，please like and subscribe my channel if you like my live today. Thank you very much. Bye bye.